So listen, we're back, right? It's been a long time since we did a actual live stream, not on the go. And even this one was a little bit like last minute plan, but I think that's kind of par for the course over here. And I know most of it because we do it like that, it ends up being really for the replay gang. But when I try new things, we try to get better at the things that we actually do try. So that requires what? Us to try, right? So shout out to anyone that makes it to this chat, and I look forward to interacting with you guys. And of course, doesn't stop the content. We're still going to post it two a day. Still going to do that. Show that example, that discipline that we sort of started the year with. We started not the year, but June with. Um, I think that's been one of the driving forces and reasons that's kind of just kept me showing up, even when work schedule is hectic and is returning to being hectic. It just kind of reminds me to, kind of set that example of being what I want to be. I think that's, I don't want to say prophetic, but I think it makes sense going into the new year with that same set of mindset. Right. In that case, I want to do like a recap of just what this YouTube journey has meant and the ups and downs and the trials and tribulations of it all. First and foremost, it's just been a challenge. Right. And sometimes we have an idea that we're going to run into things. Okay, I've always got to shout out with my family. Jumps in the chat. Shout out to my sister. I'm glad I let you know beforehand so I didn't get in trouble. I know how that would be fair. And shout out to my best friend in the chat as well. Yeah. Uh, Appreciate you guys for showing up. Even though I Blair and my sister, I am chronically the one to say I should have told you beforehand, and this is the first time I'm telling you guys both beforehand. So again, thank you for showing up. And it reminded me something in just 20 minutes. I told my best friend I was going to go live. It reminded me something that we're very quick to say that people don't support us, people don't show up for it, but we often don't give them the lane to do so. Right? It's easier to complain to say, "Yo, you never did it for me, and I had to get out the mud myself." But sometimes we just make it known that hey, we would like your support. And I'm not saying the support, hey, buy my book, buy my which you should buy my book, right? I'm gonna play with you on that. You should just buy the book. It's a good book. But when that friend says to support my business and it's like, they're selling plates and it's $70, $7 for a plate, and like you get to complain, like, oh, they didn't support black businesses. No, no, no. Sometimes support is just letting people let them know how they could be there for you. It's something that's just simple like that. So if it's just showing up for a live stream, so we're seeing a friendly face in the chat, you know, uh, for those that do live streams, that actually makes the world of difference. Um, so yeah, shout out to you guys. You guys deserves all the praise, and I thank you for the support this year, making all of this sort of happen in your small little way, contributing to this. So again, I appreciate you guys. Um, to that effect, June started the first videos on this channel, and I had the channel maybe for a couple months before that, but I didn't do anything because that's common, right? That's what we do often. We'll get an idea, we get a feeling, we get a little boost of motivation, and then we'll just stop. And I just stopped. And I knew the beginning of this year, I said Q3, I wanted to be monetized. I wanted to actually make a go of this YouTube thing. And I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. And it's a good reminder how easy it is to fall into that trap of not doing the things you want to do. So some very, poignant and, conversations help me sort of get my head out my ass and say, let's actually make this thing happen. Let's do this thing. So yes, the book is captivating, right? Thank you. Thank you, sis. And she's not just saying that because she's my sister. Like, listen, take a look at the book. Love or hate it. I think you're gonna love it anyway. So again, most of the things that we set out and try to do, we just stop. We imagine how big and awful and difficult it's going to be, and we're borrowing worry from tomorrow. And it doesn't make any sense. We all do it. We constantly do it, and it stops us from being, who we actually set out to be. If you're designing yourself, right, and I think that's what self improvement it's about. You're designing. You envision this person that you want to be, and then you start working towards that. But it becomes impossible to do so when it's so much easier not to. The bed is very warm. It's very easy to stay inside. It's just, why bother? I do anything at all. Just chill, just relax. And then you're still the same person. I think that's one of those things that it's I don't like to put upon how I view myself and how I operate, how I do things. I don't like put that upon other people, but I say it's one of those things that should make you sad. When you look back, when the year's over, your birthday or the year, itself, and you're still the same person. You're still in the same rut. You're still in the same position. If you like your position, sure, go for it. But a lot of us want to change. We want to be better versions of ourselves. And a lot of that comes down to doing something challenging. And this was keeping to 2 videos a day, and then I even increased and try to do 2 shorts and, try to anything I'm trying to do at this level, at another level, you know, because I know if that's the baseline, that's how I started it, I'm gonna wanna do more. I'm gonna wanna be excited and try to say, "Okay, how do we improve this? How do we improve this? How do we improve this?" And sometimes the things that I think are improvements, you guys kinda don't mess with, right? So I end up being completely wrong, but I like the effort. And then you learn a little something. Then you learn, hey, maybe I need this, I need that, I need new mics, I need. Shout out to Blair for actually sending me those mics. Um, if the book was bad, I would change my last name. Heavens forbid I embarrass my bloodline, so I can't do that. I can't put any bad products out there. Um, so that's never been a thing. Um, yeah, no, sis, she's been instrumental to this page and inspiring me to actually do the thing, showing me examples and being a moderator on the chat. Um, so, you know, some people have been really critical for making this page possible and just kind of inspiring me. And you know how difficult it is to kind of inspire me outside of spite, right? For anyone that has the best catalog of my life, it'd be my sister. So, um, yeah. So, like I said, it's challenging, and I thought YouTube would be very similar to most things that I just attempt to do. I'm gonna struggle with it, and then I'm gonna get really, really good, and then it's gonna be like, "Oh, this is what you struggled with." No, it's difficult. It's difficult because it does not matter the amount of, uh, effort or attention you think you've done on some project or something. That doesn't mean it's gonna be received in that same way. We've had a couple videos on the channel really, like, catch lightning in a bottle and get pushed out to the larger sort of, media or it's larger YouTube, and it's done really well. Like the last one, I think was like 55 or 56,000 views on that. And it's more or less like proof positive, like, hey, this is a viable strategy. This thing can actually work. So the way I look at it is sometimes you have to just be around. And when YouTube decides and the algorithm decides, I'm going to come and look for you, it wants to make sure you're there. And you can't have anything get, I don't want to call it viral because I don't think viral for my channel, sure. But I think when things come around and they do well, what they take, you have to be there. You have to be ready there to show up. It's like life coming and checking on, see if you've actually been doing the work. If you haven't, I hadn't been, then I don't really have a leg to complain and say the game is rigged. Well, let me find out if it's rigged. Let me show up. Like, let me be there and then see for myself. And then I think in the process of even if it doesn't go anywhere, and I think it will. I think it will maybe take 4 or 5 years, but if that's the outlook, we all seem to forget when we're right here, 4 to 5 years seems a very long time. But we all know how quickly that time has passed. We were just talking about COVID lockdowns and the nonsense all surrounding that. In 5 years since that, it doesn't feel like that. But for those people that have been doing that little work again and again and again and again, yeah, now those 5 years become insurmountable. If I'd started YouTube 5 years ago, where I'd be versus where I am now, there's nothing I can do that can make up that time, which is something that's been really, kind of running around my brain lately because a couple different experiences I had at work with other people. And you see the difference in what having stackable time, right? Stackable moments where you've been a success. Like I say to my sister all the time, she'll have a good day. I said, good, do it again tomorrow. When you stack those, those start becoming that's momentum. Even if I meet you and I'm competing with you, say something like that, I can't replicate that time that you've done. I can have probably a really good day. Like, say we're in the gym, I can have a really good workout. I can match you for intensity, for duration, but you do this every day. I just had a really, really, really good day. I can't do it tomorrow. I can't do it again the next day and the next day. Those stackable moments in time become insurmountable. So that's what I want to go into 26 thinking about that. I want stackable times that become impossible. Oh, hold up. My brother just showed up in the chat. My eternal player too. Listen, my family's in a billion. I really appreciate seeing you all here. You know, even if sometimes it's just briefly. I know you guys got your own lives, so yes, the golden one is here. Our favorite, our family favorite. And I don't say it with any type of malice. That's complete love. If you've actually know us in real time, you would see that for yourselves. So always good to see you guys. It's just like when we were in Queens College and we run into each other on campus and we'd be super excited. And then other people would run into they're like, did you guys just come from did you guys live together? Yeah, yeah, but it's different. Right? It's just another opportunity to show that love. So never upset about that. Shout out to you guys being in the chat. Of course, let me give my brother that. Yeah. So, as I was saying, 2026 should be about those stackable wins, right? And I'm not one to crowd the gym early on in the year. Just crowd it now, right? Crowd it now and take your own time, but take your time and be consistent, be serious with it. If the gym is your thing, or whatever is your thing, you should be looking at yourself, and the goal should be by this time next year to look at yourself and say, yeah, I thought I had it figured out. I thought I had it figured out. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything at all. That should be the goal. That should be the driving factor. That should be what excites you, what gets you out of bed and say, I want to make myself a fool. Because right now I feel like I'm pretty got a pretty good handle on life. I think I'm doing really well. But I felt like that the prior year, and then the prior year, and the prior year. You try to make sure you feel that way every single year. That's me. That's kind of how I like to approach things. Make it difficult for people, for the imaginary enemies when they finally rear their head, want to find difficulty in sort of matching up to me. I've always been like that. I've always been competition driven. I just know when to kind of put it inward instead of alienating everyone outside of you. Um, with that said, right? With that said, with that said, we're going to continue with the actual live stream because that's what hopefully the people in the replay or hopefully people actually tune in and will see this. Doctor and Handsome, you guys are way too kind for sharing so much of my DNA, right? But I'm not mad at it. That latest picture, Yara, that's going to be my lock screen right there. All right, but like so, we're going to matriculate this live stream down the field as we should, right? So we're here. Love and money, one of my favorite little subjects. I like to make this feel like a show, feel like just entertainment. So you can feel like you've got something from the entire experience, not just you're sitting down, listening. And well, if you're not here during the live stream, you can't go back and forth with us. But that's neither here nor there. So these are different from the usual vertical lives that I'll do randomly because I've got a free hour or two. I like the little showmanship. I like the little touch of class and professionalism. I'm always looking to improve upon something like that. So with that, we're gonna go to our first video.
Buckle up, bitch. The best way to make sure you don't get used is to make sure that when you're with a man, you're making him pay. Okay? And I don't mean physically, monetarily, money. Be getting stuff from the guy. Okay? A man is going to waste your time. I tell you this all the time. He will disappoint you. He will hurt your feelings. He will do some fuck shit, say some fuck shit, be some fuck shit. Okay? You need to make sure, hey, when I'm with this guy, when I'm hanging out with him, when I'm speaking to him, even if we're just talking, get shit done. I'm doing shit. Okay, I'm still moving and grooving. He's helping me advance my life. You should only be talking to men that can help you advance with your life. Talking to talk, are you 16? You want to fall in love? Love is a fucking lie. I'm so sorry about that. Love is literally a myth. You need more things than love. Girls are like, I like a guy. Okay, is he a nice, kind human being? Do you know what I mean? Last guy I was talking to, I got money out of him. I got money out of him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He helped me pay some bills. Yes, he did. We liked each other. As you know, I can only talk to men that I like because it's very hard to not like them and still be in the vicinity with them. I don't give a fuck if you're paying. That's the part that's the disconnection part with me and my advice. I don't.
So listen, we're going to let it continue on a bit, but here's an unpopular take. If you're upfront with that, if you're upfront with that, and he understands, hey, I'm just here, I'm really here on your arm because I need your financial assistance in some way. Fair exchange is no robbery. The problem, I think ends up being when this isn't clearly communicated and he's thinking we're building something involving love and connection and deepening, our attraction to each other. But you're just there because, like, yeah, man, that T-Mobile bill is killing me. So if you're upfront about what you're expecting, what you want, shoot, go for it. But kind of don't see that's the thing. There's an expectation that a man is already supposed to do this for you. And again, if you guys have that actual relationship, sure, then that just makes sense. That's a thing about responsibility. You guys are together. I mean, seriously together, not you guys swiped in each other on Tinder and 3 dates in, you're like, no, you need to pay my rent. I think most people, when they're offline and they're looking at things logically, they can say that really doesn't make any sense. But if you can get away with it, that becomes the other issue. If you can get away with it, people are like, yeah, sure, go for it.
Be saying that enough. You know what I mean? I like the guy. As a guy, you should have money. I'm not going to clap and like, woo, jump up and down because you should have money. Like, you should have money. What's there to like if there's no money? You're a man at the end of the day. Okay? I'm sorry. People like get so offended. Go get offended somewhere else. This isn't the video for you. If you make sure that you're getting things from the guy that help you, that make you feel good, he's paying for your hair, he paid for your nails, he gave you some money, he helped you put up a fucking lamp. I don't fucking know. He picked you up from the airport. He sent you a car from the airport. He did things that were like helpful. You made him do things of the sort. Just do things for you. I don't care. You don't even need to get money from him. But if you are making a man do for you, when he fucks up, you're like, at least I saved some dollars. At least I saved some money. At least I got maybe some money. At least I got some bills paid. At least I got some things out of the man. I don't feel so bad.
Listen, if your bar is that low, right, where you send an Uber from the airport, because picking people up from the airport is very personal. I think we learned that from Seinfeld, right? Those of us, I'm showing my age there, but it's a personal endeavor, especially when you're not good at the airport. And being good at the airport, you either know you're good or you know you're not good. I'll leave it at that. Um, but if your bar is that low for the things that you're talking about, that he paid a bill, I think people often forget that when you don't have money and versus the people that do have money, it's very easy to spend money. It's very easy to spend money for someone like this to make you feel like I like you. If you're looking at me and just saying, I just need him to do this and therefore I'll give him myself, that's a very cheap exchange. And that only becomes a thing when you do have disposable money or you're very good with your money. And if sending you an Uber Black makes you, think that we have something special or engenders you to me where I can get you physically, yeah, people with means are fine spending that. I'm buying the outcome. I mean, if we can set aside and forget that my family's in the chat, my family may watch some of this replay, my family Callie, who then will report to my mom. This is the P word with further steps. But if you just want to move to that point in time, just say that. You're going to still find plenty of attention from men. They're saying, cool, we can dispense with all the stuff where I have to pretend like you care about me and then I know I can at least spare my feelings. Let's just have more honest conversations outside of men watching this and saying, okay, I'm getting the playbook. I'm seeing what's happening and now I'm just going to sort of adjust and move, correctly. Instead, Me coming there and trying to say, hey, I see you. I see you at the bar and I'm liking what I'm seeing. Right. I come right up to you and I start spitting the game, right? The best game you've ever heard in your life, right? If you just said, hey, this is a cost. Most men, yeah, some men are just going to turn away, scoff their head, and be like, I can't believe that. On the other hand, you're going to get a bunch of people that say, hold up. This maybe makes sense for me. It's a slow Tuesday. I might want to just try this thing. I might want to just say, hey, I'll give it a shot. I'll see what it is. I'll see if it works. That way, everyone can have a better understanding of life, of what it means, what we're both doing here, instead of lying to ourselves, instead of what we say, like nobody likes doing, wasting their time. No one's a fan of wasting their time. So let's cut that out. Let's just people say, this is what it is. Let's talk to each other straight up. She's got a little bit more. Let her finish this.
You won't feel bad, I swear to God. Make these men work, put them to work. If you like me, you must like to work. That's a requirement. What do you mean you don't like to work? I'm confused. I can't like you then. You don't like to work. I like men that like to work. I'm at the pool, you're at work. I'm at the pool, you're at work. Okay? Monday, I was on my way to the pool. This man texts me, what are you doing? I'm going to the pool. Oh, what are you doing at the pool? Who's at the pool? Other people are at the pool. I don't fucking know. It's not my pool, but I got invited. I'm going to the pool. And you're at work, and I love that. And if you are upset that you can't come to the pool, maybe you should send me money, and then I will show you me at the pool.
On the other hand, does any of that really make sense? When you hear that, like, does that? I'm gonna send you money so you could show me who's at. So there's the other part of that we always have to when we're looking and we're sifting through the internet for content to put together for a stream or content to put together for things. We have to always pay attention and say, is this just like for likes? Is this just straight up nonsense? Right? What are we doing here? And if people are out here believing that this is correct, this is the way to do things, then we're in a bad place. We're in a bad position. Why I use these videos, why I try to highlight them and use them is because I think a lot of the times when you don't hear any pushback to this, right? When this is set out, and a lot of times I spend more time looking at the comment section and looking at people. It's an echo chamber. People all just simply agreeing with that. Where we know down in the trenches, down in the very real world, that's not how things work. But we start questioning and saying, are we wrong? Are we sort of the ones that are out of touch? As we become, the parents in the old 80s, 90s movies telling the kids about their jive music and their suggestive dance moves, are we becoming out of touch? Are we the parents now? Are we just not getting that this is actually how things happen? And like the younger generation likes to say, are they just cooked? Is it just them? It has nothing to do with us. We have to pay attention to stuff like that and say, yeah, maybe I've got a plan. I know how I like to move. When I see stuff like this, only thing I have in mind is just saying,
Wouldn't let that shit happen to me though.
if that's what you want to do, you want to sit back and be at the pool while I work and I fund this. Yeah, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna wish you the best and separate and hopefully elevate. I think that always has to be the case. That always has to be the case.
Okay.
So you say you have a boyfriend, right? Like, do y'all stay together or
No.
separate?
The plot thickens. He actually has a wife, a kid, and another one on the way, and we are all okay with this. And I am quite a bit younger than him, so I live my life, and
Yeah, boy.
that's totally
Okay.
fine.
Just one last question. The wife knows.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
I help them. I
Okay.
babysit. I do all of the kid knows. Everybody knows. I go over and I babysit, and I'm like, I'm friends with their moms. I'm like, everything's great.
Serious?
Yeah.
You serious?
So, here's the thing. usually people that you see that into like polygamy, they have a look, right? They have a look that we kind of come accustomed to see. This is very pretty woman, and we're like, wait, you can't really bring people into that scenario without properly vetting them, and definitely not on anything that's publicized like this, where it'll get views, views, and views. That's a quiet conversation that you slowly have over drinks, where you ply a man with your charms. But putting that out there, most people are like, wait, wait. And she said mothers. So the main takeaway from this, or for this love and money segment, is what is that guy doing? What is that guy doing? And can he write a book? Can he write an ebook for all of us to just kind of peruse? Because because you know, I'm frightfully curious. I'm frightfully curious. How do you manage that? How do you manage that? Where people out here are complaining about, a man has to make him pay, make him do something for you in order to get anything from him. And meanwhile, this other guy, he's got it. I'm curious, and it's one of those things I wish they had like a real good follow up for. But unfortunately, we're all left here wondering, and he's watching that segment. And he's just going about just laughing to himself. Again, I wish some people could do legit follow ups with their lives, just stories, because stuff like this absolutely fascinates me.
If you want a wealthy life, you need to spoil your wife because your wife is the one setting the energetic standard of your reality. She's the one pushing you to higher levels of success that you would not be able to do on your own. She's the one raising the standards in your household, providing the energetic support and fertile ground for you to succeed. She's ultimately the one who's actually pushing you to become the highest version of yourself, because whether men realize it or not, consciously or unconsciously, a deep part of their sense of purpose is in providing, is in protecting. So the more you spoil her, the more you're increasing your own energetic capacity to create wealth, to succeed.
I think in that case, and this is saying like if all things are equal, right? If all things are working the way they should, yeah. But spoil is it sounds tricky in this economy. It sounds nearly impossible in this economy, especially if you're talking about, all right, you've got a stay-at-home wife, stay-at-home mother, and you're trying to finance all of that, and you're still going to say, "I'm gonna spoil it." Sometimes you gotta tighten the belt. You gotta tighten the belt. You have to Things have to make sense. How you afford it, they've got to make sense. I get what people are trying to say, and I'm seeing a different trend in sort of this content, and where we're trying to have people understand or think that what should be done now is just complete. You just supposed to spoil. You're just supposed to make sure anything that you're doing, you put out there to someone else, to a woman. You make sure she feels, or she doesn't actually feel like she has any type of stress. There's nothing like she's got going on in life that's difficult because you've made that happen. And I think while that sounds cute, that sounds great, I think there's an unrealistic part of that, and it's just an economic one. It just doesn't make sense to be able to do that economically. It's not saying that it's not feasible, it's not possible, but the amount of people that are going to have the ability to do that is so fractionally, infinitesimally small. But when we give people advice, we give women advice out here, this becomes the things that you're supposed to expect. You're supposed to want this. You're supposed to think that this is the norm. This is what's supposed to happen. And if it doesn't, something has to be wrong with your man. Something has to be wrong with you. That somehow you are not worthy of this. I think it does more harm than good than trying to talk to men and say you're supposed to provide. The I'm finding more and more content from the younger generation, and they're like, "No, I'm not doing any of that. I'm not doing any of that. That provision stuff." They're like, "No." It's they're like, "No, it's not for them." They're like, "This doesn't make any sense." They're looking at it transactionally and saying, "No." Right? Who said that I want that to mean have anything to do with my definition of masculinity? And it's a nice process to watch them just sort of decide what their life is going to look like without it being decided for them, without it being written. No, they're going to say, no, we're going to say, this is what is important to me. This is why I chose this. This is where things are going. Again, I admire that. I like that. And I'm very interested to see how they start defining their lives for themselves. So as much as people want to get on here and sometimes it's just straight up gaslighting, I'm just trying to gaslight you into doing the thing that I want you to do and then move the conversation forward. If I can get you to simply think your sole job on this planet as a man is to give your money, resources, and time away to a woman. I can get you to think that, then I've won most of the battle. I don't have to be anything in my life. While I can simultaneously claim that I wanted to be all these things and I gave that up for this man, nah. We all know what it would sound like if you put put it on the other way. If men were saying, "No, I just want to chill." In fact, this next video kind of has that.
It's gonna be mad haters in the comments. How y'all doing? My name is Savon. I'm 27 years old. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio originally. Currently homeless, and I just want to say I'm looking for someone who's loyal, who could just be there for me through the times I'm going through and stick with me. If you can, reach out. I'm willing to travel or anything. I currently deal with a couple health problems, which is pulmonary embolism, and I deal with heart problems. And I take medication for that. And I like to work out. My goal is to be a content creator and to be a businessman, and to be a motivational speaker and to make money helping people. Basically helping others. I want to make content helping others. That's one of my main goals, is to get money so I can help others. So reach out. I appreciate it. For anybody who don't have family through the holidays, you're not the only one, man. Just pray. We're going to get through it together. Much love.
Any takers? I'm curious. Any takers? And I sat on this video for a couple of days where I was trying to say, I'm trying to find what to say without being completely demeaning. Because you always root for someone. You want them to. We like a rags to riches story. I just something about it sits wrong with me. A rags to riches on her back story. Now, this is not to say that you have not seen plenty of stories of individuals, of men that want to become a model from his mugshot with the cheekbones. His life did a complete turn because his mugshot was nice, and they said nothing about the photographer, the cop that took the photo, but this is neither here nor there. But people's lives can change from just something like that. So on that note, it's like, why wouldn't you go out there and say some nonsense like that? Why wouldn't you make the attempt? Why wouldn't you just try and say, I'm going to shoot my shot? And if people take it, they take it. If not, so what? So on that very thing, I can commend him. If he can find someone, and I think he will, right? If you can find people while you're locked up, love of the lockup, and you have these shows, you have people that write, women that write to men in prison, or female guards that have relations with people in prison. Why not this? Now, will you be a fool for saying, not only is he homeless, he also has medical issues? You know what you're signing up for, and at least he's putting it out there. So if you got any takers, he got takers. And this is something I'm going to want to try and follow, because it's just so out there, right? Well, he said, if he had 12 kids, you have one. You know what? You're right. If he had mentioned he had 12 baby mamas, 12 kids and 14 baby mamas, he probably would have had, he would have been taken. He wouldn't have had any follow up videos whatsoever. It's unfortunate that's how the game seems to be, but that's how the game seems to be. Especially when we've seen more and more content where people are trying to shame men in their 30s and 40s for not having kids, not having baby mom, and that somehow is becoming, you're becoming the minority in that sense, because you wanted to have kids in a certain way and didn't want to be. I personally, I don't want to be a baby daddy. I don't want my baby mama to be on TikTok, calling me a deadbeat, telling me I never see the kids, and I don't want to have any points. I don't want her to be accurate, be right. Yeah, he doesn't do any of that, and they actually make sense. I'd be like, okay, that's my fault, right? I don't want I don't want to be that. Right? I don't want to damage someone else just because I really had no intention of raising this kid. So it's like the video put out today, and it kind of flooded YouTube today. Just that video about, men could be losers, and the first thing is deadbeat dads, the dads that have no intention. They know they had no intention. No intention whatsoever. That I just did this so I can kind of trap her, keep her around. Um, exactly. Third eye. Yeah, no kids because I'm waiting for marriage, but everyone I meet has kids. Yeah, and if that's not your thing, you just keep looking, you keep moving, right? That's it. That rather my issue always comes when people try to shame you for it. You um, sis, you put me, I was shamed for not being married, Charles. Today, everyone will always carry an opinion. Yeah, listen, do me a favor, text me whoever shamed you. Text me their address, their number, a picture of them, blood type, all the work up. Now I'll take care of that. So, but on a serious note, we're gonna. Yeah, I know, but I do. So stop it. All right, we're gonna continue this before I incriminate myself on live.
Probably gonna see a specialist. I got road rage, been burning rubber so reckless. I'm a crash out. I got road rage, I've been burning rubber so reckless. I got road rage, I've been burning rubber so reckless. I'm a crash out. I got road rage, I've been burning rubber so reckless. I'm a crash out. Got 100K on my.
Well, we know the internet is become the place to actually sit there and crash the f out. It's the new way. It's the new journal. It's the new diary. You just hold up your phone and you hit record. You don't even proofread. You don't even look at it again. You just upload it. In that regard, I should probably not be as critical because I often will end up with sound issues because I didn't sit down and just watch something in. So ignore that last part, right? But yeah, people, this is the new diary, and people feel free to put whatever they feel online, and it's great for us so we can see what type of lesson we can extract from those. So we'll get right into it. We'll matriculate this game down the field.
I am at my wit's end, and no one can tell me anything. I am at my wit's end. I'm at my wit's end, and after a really wonderful night of taking myself out, I am ending it in tears. I am ending it in tears. Because even though I had an amazing night tonight, I am still coming home alone, and it bothers me. It hurts. It's uncomfortable, and I'm not used to it, so I can complain about it. I'm not used to it. And eventually I will get used to it. And until then, I'm going to be crying about it.
Shout out to her. Cry about it. Right. And I'm not saying that in a facetious way, saying like, no, if you want to be with someone, and that's a very different thing that the internet puts out. If actually being coupled up is important to you, and I think it's genuine, it's dope when people can be honest with it and say this is important to me. I want this. Instead of jumping on the bandwagon of downloading whatever the hive mind has uploaded to the central brain, and you say, no, I want this. I'm not used to being alone. And while I can get used to it, I can get accustomed to it. This is not what I think I was on the planet for. That is a fine thing to say and actually champion. But while she's crashing out, we were not actually. I like seeing stuff like that where people are a little more honest, rather than you repeating some derivative of what you've heard already, where it doesn't require any type of forethought, doesn't require you to do any type of positive thinking. You just kind of go with the flow. So while it's a crash out, I think it's still a very good one.
I'm sick of being alone, but knowing that I have to guard my soul and protect my heart in peace because you here don't know how to love a motherfucker properly. And this is lonely as I don't got nobody, dog. Nobody around. And this is you ain't be right. Fuck I'm supposed to do.
Yo, I get that. I get that. I think a lot of men really get that. And especially when it comes down to how we express our emotions, this is becomes part of the problem. Again, you want to do that? Don't record it. Right? Don't record it. I'm fine with that. But once you feel like that, you feel that well of angst.
We'll do it live. Okay.
Don't do that.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live.
Yeah.
I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Yeah. Listen, shout out to Marissa. Don't do those things. I know what you're feeling, right? And those are times when, yeah, everyone gets lonely. You're single. There are times, and I had a conversation with my mom about this. Shout out to my mom since my whole family's in the chat. A long time ago, a couple months ago, maybe 6-7 months ago. Yeah, there's times when you get lonely. Right? There's times when you're going to bed and you've been busy yourself. Personally, I'll busy myself with all this work. I'll do this, this, and this. And then in the quiet time right before you feel it, you're like, damn, it would be nice if I could share this with someone. But you don't crash out. I don't record it. I don't put it online. I know the feeling, but it's best to kind of just learn how to actually properly articulate those things. And part of the real issue is when you don't have an accurate handle on your emotions. This is how you tend to be. This is easy when you're young. It's one of those things that with time you get the opportunity and experience to learn how to process these things better. The unfortunate thing is you don't always have time. You don't always have time. You feeling like this and you feel like this early. So here it is. When you don't understand how to do that, and sometimes it's because of lack of a father figure or lack of a father that knew how to do that himself, you're left kind of just struggling with this. What can you do? What should you do? Well, not this. This is when we look to other physical aspects to sort of help us out. I mean, it's a weird thing, but one of the things I've always enjoyed doing is bowling. Right? To me, it's like geometry, it's like angles, it's math, and it's just physical exertion. Right? And it was just for all the New Yorkers there. Just there's a quick pause. We just throwing balls down the down the lane. Yeah, it's tiring. It's just exertion. So is the gym, right? And you probably get more tangible results from the gym. So you should probably be doing those. Um, yeah, so there are better ways to handle this, but I'm happy that again the younger generation are saying I'm going to express myself in this medium, and we're back to those we're the adults in Dirty Dancing, right? And Footloose and such. We're the ones saying this is weird. You shouldn't do that. This is what their world is was shaping up to be, but this is becoming common behavior for them. So instead of being those odd parents, I'm just going to simply sit back and I'm going to observe it and see how it works. I'm going to see what it means for them. But again, we're gonna matriculate the ball down the field. The next video.
No, because my biggest ick is when women ask me for money because, bitch, why are you broke?
Listen, if I can make that into like a text, my message, my text, I like that. That last part. We're all we see, right? All I see whenever I'm trying to like farm like videos to react to again, trying to extract little lessons so we can be a counter voice for a lot of the nonsense out here. Yeah. There's disguised ways of saying I need money. Right? I just flat out I need money. And you should be gaslit into thinking this is normal behavior. The fact that you are with a man that can put you up and you don't have to work. And that could be just because he's good at budgeting, he makes enough and he's good at budgeting, or he makes an excess. That's not normal. By the numbers. By the numbers. I've known plenty of people that I work with. Similar salaries, whole family. Wife doesn't work. Kids in school. But that takes proper budgeting. That takes time. That takes diligence. It's possible, but by no means is that feat now normal. In fact, the whole six-figure thing, I'm talking just 100,000. That's not normal. We've got a society that makes that thing that is regular dangler. I was watching this other program where they were asking what do people think, how many people in the black community, or percentage wise, what do you think make over six figures? What percentage wise? And most people are saying 25%. Six. Six. I'm not talking, we're talking anything over 100,000. 100,000, anything over that is just 6%. That's it. But when we're here and everyone online is telling you how much money they're making, everyone is yeah, everyone is telling you, I need this, and you should give this to me, right? I deserve this. And we have to take a point and say, yo, is this even possible? It's just possible. It, I make $60,000. I can barely afford our rent, and I'm supposed to basically give you money for maintenance, for nails. I'm supposed, even though I can barely live myself, but I'm supposed to do the same for you. And then when we look at the average income, just keeping it black, it's what 55,000 for men and 50,000 for women. We're both broke. We should pull our money together and saying, "Hey, I can give you $75 to get your nails done. I really appreciate that because I need this money for this over here. Great. And then, hey, I can throw you $25 to get your haircut. Damn, I really appreciate that because I'm wolfing out here. Instead, we have this culture, we have this idea that you're just supposed to do everything for everyone else. And then for those that are able to do that, you got to praise them, right? You got to show those type of men some sort of gratitude. In my family, and they're in the chat except for the young one, the golden one. Um, we take care of each other, and sometimes taking care of each other isn't some always monetarily. For the longest time, I lacked any type of emotional EQ. Blair could tell you, my sister could tell you, right? My brother could definitely tell you. But yeah, I can. But I was out there making money for and I wasn't. It's not like I was stingy with it. I'm fine helping my loved ones. There's no one I love more than my family, right? But then over time, how they help me is like, yeah, you got to open up. You've got to melt some of that ice around. And in that way, I became such a better person. So it's not always just a monetary back and forth. There's other ways people can show you that they're valued, the other ways that people can improve your life. But when we get so focused and when it's just about money, we get kind of stuck just like this. Yeah, I gotta tell myself. Otherwise, this doesn't seem like actual, there's no help in this. If I'm out here thinking like, no, I'm perfect, right? Or I'm as close to perfect as possible. And no one likes that. We all got the faults, we all got the flaws, and we're all work in progress. That has to be the absolute name of the game. But again, we're gonna move on to agree or disagree. All right, all right. Do you agree or disagree? Um, Sometimes I think I already know the answer to a lot of these things because they're so obvious. So I'll probably try to do um, a better job at getting something that's more in line with like, man, that could be the case. But I'll try to play devil's advocate for this one.
My generation has really missed the mark on men. And I say that because I had to give my boss a ride somewhere. He's like 60 ish. And he gets in my car, and we hadn't even made it out of the parking lot. And he looks at me and he was like, Megan, when was the last time you got your tires balanced and rotated? I was like, I don't know, last time it was at the dealership, probably. Like, I never asked anyone to do it. Like, just last time it was in. And he was like, they're really bad. You need to go get them done. I can feel it. And we literally hadn't even gone over 10 miles per hour. And all I'm saying is that no man my age has ever been that useful about any topic in under 60 seconds in my life. Anyway, now my tires are balanced and rotated.
So listen, no, the backdrop is you're coming from a kid. I'll take that picture in London on a little walkabout during Halloween. But I use that because I think in terms of, do you agree with these things or do you disagree? And it's more like a knee jerk reaction to disagree. Is she responsible for the maintenance of her car, or is it somehow, uh, is it somehow a man's fault that he is somehow the men in your life? They were not helpful, just like the way the 6-year-old man is. I think we become I think your own card, your own life, you're responsible for that. If you don't have helpful people around you that are of your generation, it may be just a generational thing where, yeah, we're just not as knowledgeable as the older generation are in some things, but we also know how to hook up Nintendo to the TV, channel 3. We learn different skills. We learn different ways of being. We learn different ways of moving. So the things that we're knowledgeable as men in this generation is different from the generation following us, the generation before, the generation before that. We definitely can't storm Normandy like the greatest generation, but those things are also not required. Do you know that you need to balance, rotate your tires, or will the service tell you it's time to balance, rotate your tires? Either way, it's not a man's fault that your life is kind of in shambles, or you're not paying attention to these physical things that you tend to think men are supposed to do. If you want a man that's supposed to do that, if you want a man in your life that's responsible for doing those things, then it's best you get your own that says, this is my duty to you. This is what I'm supposed to do. Right. No, I like the word shambles. And Here's the next one.
You sound like a horrible
I'm trying to
person.
find a way to help your mom, even though she don't like me. I don't want her to live here with me.
Staying
It's
in the
real simple.
hotel is not taking care of my mom or helping my mom.
I could just not do nothing for her.
You don't need to. I
could
do.
just not do nothing for her.
I do. I will do it for her.
Yeah, but
You're
her
crazy.
moving in here is not you doing something for her. Her moving in here is me doing something for her.
It's us doing something for her.
You don't
Stop
pay
thinking
no
about
bills.
yourself. It doesn't matter.
So
Okay,
how-
husband, the one that don't want me to work, the one that don't want me to take care of bills. But guess what? I'm gonna take care of my mom. I'm gonna make sure my mom has a roof over her head, whether you like it or not. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I'm gonna stand my ground with that in this household because you can't tell me what I can and can't do with my mama. If I'm gonna leave my mama ass out because your ass is so insecure and so sad.
I like the fact that you feel like that you run things in here.
But your mama still jumping from club to club at 57.
My mom, just because my mom is older don't mean that she don't have a life. I don't do clubs. That don't mean that my mama don't do clubs. So you need to keep my mom's name out your mouth because we are not talking about my mom.
Okay.
Why are you bringing my mom into this
Because
when your mom
you
that needs a
too
place
busy
to
trying
live?
to save an old hoe compared to my mama.
And now you being disrespectful. That's the main reason
Right,
why I
so
won't do
therefore,
nothing for your
my
family.
mama's
she
coming regardless of what you say. I don't care.
So the shit that I was gonna do for your mama, the shit that I was gonna do for your mama, I'm no longer doing because you're disrespectful.
Okay.
Now since you got a mouth on you, right?
So now you mad because I called your mama out, and you know it too. You and I both know how your mama get down, pushing 60. But at the end of the day, I said what I said. My mom will be here. I'm not finna let my mom go stay in no hotel when she can come here, when we got a guest room for her. Like, you sound very selfish and immature.
Immature. Well, I tell you what, right? I tell you what. So the guest room is vacant right now. Guess what? And the next week it's gonna be vacant again. Okay. Because ain't nobody gonna be moving in, especially
and
not
then
your
you're
mama.
gonna have a
So
vacant household. Bye.
Well, then you can get out.
I will.
You don't stay with your mama wherever y'all
I
gonna
will.
stay.
You sound horrible, bro. I ain't even got nothing else to say to you.
Well, you ain't got nothing else
I
to
don't
say.
have nothing else
I've been
to
not
say.
having nothing else to say.
I
You keep
have
popping up the
nothing
camera.
else.
You keep popping up the camera, want to get me on camera, telling the folks that your mama can't stay here. Well, guess what? I'll tell anybody that. I'll tell your people that. I'll tell my people that. She can't stay here. And you keep on acting up the way you're doing. You can't stay here.
You can't kick me out, or I got my name on. So therefore, my mom will be here regardless of what you say. Period.
Listen, yeah, that's who's in the right here, right? Who's in the right here? I think I was like, there's no real winners, right? But who do you agree with? Who's making sense here? I think the name calling makes me automatically skew towards what the guy is saying. I think when you want people to stay within your space, it has to be a complete agreement with both people. We both have to say this is good, this is fine, or I can do this, or for whatever amount of time. If one person is on and up for it, then it can't go. It can't happen. But since it's the mom and you're told her you don't want her to work, yeah, you can make accommodations for the mom. I think that's a fine compromise. Hey, listen, I'm not really comfortable with your mom being here because we have a contentious sort of relationship, but I don't want to be out and not doing anything. So we'll put her up in a hotel, a nice little hotel nearby. I think that's a fine compromise rather than go back and forth about this because the way people feel about their moms, that's not going to change. I know, the Bible says you're supposed to leave and cleave, but that's not how we kind of move today, right? We're a lot more secular. We're a lot more about how we are in our individual families and how things are like that are supposed to move. So it's a very different reality. A very different reality. That's not how things sort of operate. So, but I think this conversation is in no ways productive in any type of sense of the word, productive at all. It's just you're left out there saying, do this or not. And they're both coming from that same position. They're, but honestly, if I were him, if I were her, I don't want to be in that type of relationship where we can't talk and we're just going to go back and forth and you're going to do this or not. Because she was so quick to come with the derogatory comments, it's like, that's such a turnoff to me. That's such a complete turnoff to me. Like, I want to walk away from anything like that all the time, every single bit of the time. The minute you can start bringing stuff like that and throwing stuff about my mom in the conversation, just the way you feel so strongly about your mom, he probably feels strongly about his mom. I think it's low. Like now, I want to hurt you rather than I want to come to any type of like actual conclusion. But yeah, this was it was an awful one to watch. I'll say that. And sometimes we forget because we don't have lives like these that they don't really exist. or these aren't what people sort of swim and deal with, again and again and again.
Y'all seem to like my conversation when I'm sharing what Kevin Samuel had said and that I'm 52 years old and I'm still single and ready to mingle. Y'all really like that. So it's something about a woman of color being single that men gloat in, and you're the same men that are single. Like, help me understand. Help me understand how the majority of the men are not even available. And the ones that are suspect. Come on. Is it a me being 52 issue? Or is it a you not knowing which way to go? Help me, please. Kevin Samuels, he told y'all men how to be men.
I think if you want to go with that line of thinking, he also told you what men were expecting, what men wanted. I think what we see a lot of on the internet is people get very accustomed to um they get very accustomed to seeing how things are always working in one way. How the media, how magazines, how songs, how they kind of like they push men down. Even when our beloved Marvel, right? And we had 11 years of good old movies, right? And I'm saying good old movies. I'm like, it was not so much true to the comics, but it was like, these are the characters, watch it, enjoy it, boom. And then, Disney bought Marvel and said, all right, we got to put these girl bosses in here. And not so much that girl bosses are bad. Marvel's full with dope women. Even just think of X-Men, yeah, Storm by herself. Not Jean Grey, because she's always passing out. Jean Grey with the Phoenix, sure. But yeah, Storm, great written. Rogue, greatly written. You don't need to now put a message in there that denigrates men. Men have heard it for such a long time that now when you, as a woman, you've gotten to the point where, you've aged out of really dating in terms of getting the same sort of results you hope to get years ago in your 20s and your 30s and some in your 40s. Now you've aged out and now you don't seem to have grasped that lesson, that the tension that you want from men is gone, or from those type of quality men, those are gone. You kind of left picking through the trash where people will say, oh, no, yeah, remember back in high school, I was always feeling you and I never really amounted to anything. And now that you're here, there's a bit of Schadenfreude in there where people like to see you get your comeuppance. It's not that you're black and it's not a race thing. Just like, okay, you had a moment in time with Kevin Samuels where it doesn't seem like there was any type of lesson extracted from there. And I get people, he's a very polarizing topic, but eat the meat, spit out the bones. Was there something you could have learned? Did you learn anything from that encounter? It doesn't look like you did. Now you want to bring up that you were on that show and that is somehow supposed to make you relevant to this sort of topic. No, it's still the same. It's like, all right, the men that you want, they're not checking for you. They haven't been checking for you. This is it. This is a swan song. It's not that you don't deserve anything as a woman, as a person. It's just this is how the game ends. Unless you got extremely lucky, this is kind of how the game ends, and it's a sad sort of thing to strive for relevancy I don't want to say sundown year, but the game ends for all of us, right? Even men, even men. Some of us, men age with fine wine. Not a lot of us. Not a lot of us, and I think that becomes a very obvious thing when you walk outside and you look at how American people are. Not a lot of us. You don't take care of yourself. Nah, 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 nah. And by take care of yourself, I don't mean just like nutrition, gym, even finances. If you don't take care of yourself as a man, it doesn't get easier for you. Right? The same pressures that have been compounding and make your life difficult continue to do so. It's one of those things that we need to pay attention to. We need to take on ourselves and say, all right, it matters. So let me do actually some of this work. So we're going to move on to the last topic, right? So, thank you guys for being here so far. Shout out to Replay Gang, who might see this later on and might not. But either way, we want to use this as an opportunity to start the new trend and not specifically just wait for the new year. I want to try to get more and more sort of consistent on these, but we'll talk about that in a sec. So listen, last little segment of the night. Um, Again, I want to thank you guys for actually showing up. Those that did, even when it doesn't get, it's not. I never had a live go like super viral. And again, with the channel has only been around for 6 months, I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish here. And I know these things take time, right? It's going to take more and more time, but more and more consistency. And I think I've shown that with the other videos, or with the constant, the two a days, now the stories, now making more content, original content. Because I figure if from a reaction channel, primarily reaction channel was kind of how it started, but we're going to branch out to do more things. One of those things is original content. So give people stuff where they can react to. Um, so I think that's a nice, like, kind of like full circle there. But part of this channel, what I always wanted to encourage was conversation. I wanted the back and forth. I wanted the dialogue. I want people to say what they're thinking. Here's my thoughts on this, this, and this. I also want people to be able to appreciate, a little production. Hey, I want people to say, like, I was in here early on, and early on is still now. It's very much now, where you can see the jumps, right? In sort of value, what you get from it, and how things are sort of change and change and change, how things are improved. That's why I try to put effort and say, okay, this is how we're going to start. How do we build it? How do we make it better? Part of that better, I think, is always going to be for more interaction. By that, I mean like call in shows, back and forth, user videos or user video requests. I enjoy doing those. I enjoy doing things that, like, I take a little more time to put together and produce while still trying to maintain the two videos a day. Um, there's a point of pride in being able to do that. Um, Part of that going forward is with the Patreon, I'm going to create something that's like, again, those will be more infrequent, more like once a week, but I want the production value to be higher and I want it to be more personal about my own life, about the things that I consider and think, and the ways I plan on improving myself going forward. I want those to be value add. Also, there's going to be more talk about money, about real estate on there. So if people want to see those, they can get a little slice of that. We'll do a little teaser trailer so people say, okay, I don't want you to jump in and pay for something, say it's useless here. But you'll have little trailers that I'll drop on this channel where you can say, oh, okay, that's what they're talking about over there. That makes sense. I'm interested in that. I'd like to add into things like that. Also, um, new books, things that I'm actually currently toying around and writing with. I'm gonna be able to, like, once I get that outlined properly, I will be dropping those on a Patreon as well. I want it to be like this big momentum chain of all the things that you're trying to do, trying to make yourself better. I want there to be in a localized place where people can come and say, "Hey, I haven't been really feeling motivated. What is he doing?" I like to be that sort of lighthouse, and that's really more my brother's thing. But enough of that. We're going to talk about the last topic. One of the things that I've been considering on when seeing a lot of these videos are making is when we're talking about, there's one is about the bare minimum, right? And I jumped off into that in another video I made, but another about people and saying that if you can't afford my lifestyle, you need to date with someone that's in your tax bracket. And I think we have a misunderstanding. And by we, I don't mean me. I think women sometimes and some pandering men have misunderstanding. My tax bracket statistically is your tax bracket. On average, what I'm making is what you're making. You say your lifestyle is what I can't afford, but is your lifestyle based in reality? Or is it based on deficit spending like the good old United States government? Where you can fund, or you say, I'm supposed to do a vacation or two vacations. I'm want to live this lifestyle. This lifestyle includes a $1,200 car payment. Is that a sustainable lifestyle? Or is that sort of you being wanton with your finances? Should then someone that is interested in you be responsible for what's in excess? That's not really a sustainable lifestyle. Or should the conversation be like, I'm responsible for what is your sustainable lifestyle? Not what you want, not what you hope, not what you purport it to be. If your lifestyle should be based on your income versus your debt. If you owe 100 grand in student loans, but you want to be, in the beaches, you want to be somewhere in Mykonos. You want to be in Santorini for your birthday. How? Responsible, just saying, in responsible sense. How? That's not your lifestyle. Your lifestyle is the 100 grand of debt. And that's just school loans, right? That's not the other consumer debt you probably have, the car note, the other things draining your rent, your mortgage, the other things draining your pockets. That's your lifestyle. If we had the ability to be real on social media, where people can say, I'm a baddie and this is what I require, and then you can get a snapshot of their mail, their bathroom, their bedroom, their actual lifestyle, and hold the two together. And you see, when you look so, and we do this as men, we have this complete bias. You look phenomenal, you look great, and then if I get a chance to look at your lifestyle, you have your mattress is on the floor. But I'm looking at you and saying, these are incongruent because I think you look like this. I assume the greatest of everything else about you. But your lifestyle that I'm supposed to be responsible for, that you're saying that men should be responsible for, what is it really? Is it this magical thing that you're saying, yo, it's really dope. I'm really out here paid. I'm really out here paid. And in that sense, you've got your businesses, you've got your education, you have all that to back it up. Yeah, you're right. And you probably want someone on your level, and that's what you should be going for. But we know what the numbers bear out. The numbers say we're all kind of struggling. So why would it not be better to sort of struggle and do these things sort of together? Why would not we look at these things like a burden shared is a burden half? If someone can come in, and I know we often say, well, what does a man bring to the table? Sometimes structure and discipline, and those aren't tangible. But maybe now you stop spending as much. Maybe now you get up early in the morning, go to the gym like you've been wanting to do because that's what he's doing. Right? Maybe you start looking at some of your friends and realize, yeah, maybe they're not good for me because you didn't have that other perspective. You didn't have that structure in your life. Maybe now you don't fly off the handle as quick as you used to. Maybe now you realize your lifestyle was an unsustainable debt trap that was going to see you working until you die. But that's not sexy, right? That's not the glamorous part. That's not the incredible part. That's not the vacations in Santorini with the gelato, right? While you're walking up and down the hills waiting for the perfect shot. I say that because I did that. I didn't put that on someone else's lifestyle. Right? That was something I wanted to do. I wanted to see for myself. So you can make that happen. But no one else is responsible for those things. You can't do those things while you're simply drowning in debt. Well, you shouldn't do those things while you're drowning in debt. When you go to the BMW Mercedes dealer and he says, I can put you in this, this GLE. Not a problem. $1,700 payments, for 127 months. And you're like, this is a great deal. Yeah, maybe that man in your life provides that structure. Say, this is terrible for you. Or another video I saw today, guy said the woman he was trying to talk to, she said every 2 years she buys a new car, because a brand new car, because she doesn't want to deal with the maintenance, brakes, oil change, tire rotation. Her monthlies was 1,700, and he was trying to convince her and trying to teach her to understand. It would be cheaper if you did it this way, instead of paying rent on a vehicle and also paying rent on a place. This is not someone that was independently wealthy and just said, "I just got it like that." So sometimes we forget what people bring because we get caught up in thinking that this is supposed to be a tangible sort of exchange. Just the same way we forget and we think that women are supposed to cook and clean when you've been cooking and cleaning your goddamn self. It's not a difficult thing to do. The responsible for to do, and for some of us who like to cook, we get some enjoyment out of it. Making something from scratch, putting something together, and saying, "Wow, that was actually good. Wow, I can have this whenever I want because I made it." There's a real pleasure in that, and it's not a thing that we should look at and say it's not masculine to cook. Most of the chefs, most of the top chefs in the world, they're men. Cooking has nothing to do with masculinity. Cooking has everything to do with, listen, if you got to eat, you got to eat to survive. Why not make it delicious? Right? Why not have that as a point in pride? I would watch how moms would, mothers would be able to look in the fridge and say, "This is what I got," and just put together something and say that's delicious. I said, "Damn, I want to be able to do that." At MacGyver, put the parts together, and then boom, you suddenly make this escape from a dungeon. In that line of thinking, and this is how a lot of conversation I have with Blair tend to go off tangents. No one has dungeons anymore. What happened to that? What happened to that? Please don't answer that. That's a complete separate thing. Um, Look at you guys being all nice in the chat. Little family streaming. I should name that this one. But like with that being said, we'll end the last stream of the year, and we're going to get more consistent with this going forward. And I'm gonna need you guys to hold me to that by just simply saying, "Yo, where's the stream? Where's the next stream?" Stuff like that helps keep me motivated, keeps my mind on target, keeps me on task. The conversations, the back and forth, actually in the comment sections, like just from a creator's point of view, when you make something, a video or something, you put it out there, and then it's like crickets. Like it's legit, just like crickets. It's hard to think like. It's hard to think, do I make another video? And I know there's over like 400 videos on the channel, right? And this is 6 months. 6 months of work. There's 400 something. Um, it's sometimes when you don't see any back and forth, it's like, damn, is this just miss, or is it? And your mind will start thinking, is the channel dead? Is what's going on? It's not growing. It's not moving in the right direction. There's so many things that go in your head. And one of the things I've learned thus far is to shut up and make another video. Shut up and make another video. The channel got monetized in 2 months, and it to me that should be at very least proof positive that this has this has real legs, that people want to engage with it, especially excuse me, especially when YouTube's algorithm catches it and throws it wide, and then people actually interact with it. So to me, again, that's proof positive that what we're doing here makes sense. And some of the conversations we've had, I'd love to get people on to hear some of their own stories, and we do a live stream like with that. Like a call-in show would be, something I would absolutely love to do with you guys. So again, thank you for showing up for the last stream of the year. And we'll try and schedule. I'll try to be better with that, scheduling things out in advance, at least 3, 4, 5 days, where people can know like I'll make time to show up. One of the things I always tell people in the beginning of videos is like, check the notification bell. I've been here consistently since June, and if sometimes people like, oh, you doing a live stream today? Oh, I had no idea. You weren't notified. Oh, my notifications were off. I say it in every video, like for a reason. I say it in every video just because, yeah, you'll miss it if you don't know about it. But check it. Do me like that. Do me that favor for the end of the year. But the video tomorrow is gonna say the same thing. So again, I appreciate you guys for showing up, especially, everyone that showed up today with definitely family. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next one.